When I first started lifting, most of my training was based on the most popular advice that I found online. Train like this, eat like that, and if you're not tracking your sodium intake, you're basically wasting your time. But the funny thing is, the more that I looked into the research, the more I realized that most of the stuff that people swear by isn't what actually gets you results. So here are 6 unpopular bits of fitness advice that won't get me clicks, but will actually get you results. Being good enough is better than optimal. With science-based lifting blowing up online, even if it has taken a little bit of a hit lately, most people have become obsessed with finding the most optimal way to train. And it makes sense. If you're putting in that much work already, you may as well dial in every variable, like volume, frequency, exercise selection, and then pair it with the perfect diet to get the most results possible. And while it does sound great on paper, striving for perfection isn't the best way to grow long term. A recent review on longitudinal studies of athlete burnout found that perfectionist concerns, things like fear of failure, self-criticism, or the need to meet impossible standards, predicted increases in athlete burnout over time. The more that these athletes chased perfection, the more likely it was that they would experience exhaustion, reduced sense of accomplishment, and even a devaluation of their sport. And this makes sense. Being perfectly optimal at all times, especially if this doesn't fit your lifestyle or bring you life satisfaction, eventually leads to excess stress in your life that does you more harm than good. Chasing optimal isn't bad in and of itself, but it just stops helping when it starts conflicting with your life. Instead, it's much better to follow a routine that's optimized, not necessarily from a scientific standpoint, but from a lifestyle one. Create a routine that does the job to grow, but is also enjoyable and realistic for you to stick to in the long term. Science shows that most people grow from a wide range of different exercise splits, volumes, and intensities, or diets. So really, you just need to find the ones that fit best into your life and stick to them. A mid-routine followed for life is much better than an optimal one followed for a week and then given up completely. Women should train the same as men. If you look at the female fitness marketing over the past few decades, it has been dominated by pink dumbbells, toning workouts, and circuit-style training or cardio-based training techniques. Now, there's nothing wrong with doing cardio or lifting lighter weights, but this idea that women should lift differently to men or exercise differently to men to get a certain physique is based on myth, not physiology. Research consistently shows when women follow the same hypertrophy principles as men, like progressive overload, training volume, or intensities, they achieve comparable strength and muscle growth relative to their starting point. And what most people call or market as toned is simply having a decent amount of muscle while also being relatively low body fat. You don't get that look from endless cardio, you get it from building muscle and then maintaining your energy balance. Lifting also isn't a male activity, it's a human one. It improves bone density, metabolic health, mood resilience, and may even reduce PMS symptoms in some females. Plus, it's critical throughout our lifespans, especially in our later years, for movement and overall health. So, lift consistently. You don't need to eat 1 gram of protein per pound of your body weight to gain muscle. The most common advice that you will see online when it comes to ingesting protein to maximize your muscle growth is to eat 1 gram per pound of your body weight daily, or roughly 2.2 grams per kilogram of your body weight daily to see the most growth. But do you really need to eat that much to grow? Not necessarily. In truth, protein intake isn't a one-size-fits-all number, it's a range. And where you fall within that range really depends on 3 key factors: your body composition, your calorie intake, and your training status. For example, if you're in a calorie balance, so not intentionally losing or gaining weight, research suggests that muscle growth is maximized at around 1.6 to 2.2 grams per kilo of your body weight, or roughly 0.7 to 1 gram of protein per pound of your body weight on a daily basis. That is so confusing. But if you're dieting or very lean, it's suggested that your protein intake should rise in order to maintain or continue to build lean muscle. Typically to around 2.3 to 3.1 grams per kilogram of your body weight daily, which equates to roughly 1 gram to 1.3 grams or 1.4 grams per pound of your body weight daily. Yes. If you do carry more body fat and you are in a deficit, you can stay towards the lower end of that range. But if you're leaner, you'll need to scale closer to the upper end. Protein also has a satiating effect, which is why most people tend to eat more, including myself. So the 1 gram per pound of your body weight daily rule isn't wrong for your protein intake, it's just the upper end of what's optimal for muscle growth for most people. You can still gain plenty of muscle eating less protein on a daily basis, especially if your training, recovery, and total calories are in check. Trial what works best for you and then go from there. You don't need the big 3 to grow. A tale truly told by gym bros since the dawn of time. If you want to build muscle, you have to squat, bench, and deadlift. Now, they're not entirely wrong when they say that, but they're not exactly right either. The big 3 are fantastic compound lifts, which teach you fundamental movement patterns: squatting, pushing, pulling, and hinging. If you only did these 3 for the rest of your life, you would put on significant muscle size and strength. But here's the thing, they're not mandatory for growth. Research shows that hypertrophy can be achieved through a wide range of exercises, loads, and training methods, so long as you're taking your sets and exercises close enough to failure and progressing on these exercises over time. So you don't need to do squats if you have wrecked knees or deadlift with a bad back. Just choose variations that follow the same, if not similar, movement patterns and challenge the same muscle groups. Like doing a pendulum squat instead of a back squat, or doing a machine chest press instead of a barbell bench press. Muscle tissue honestly doesn't care what exercise you pick, so long as you're putting in the effort consistently. Eating clean won't make you lean. Clean eating has been making its rounds on social media again, usually following a dramatic before and after video with the caption, "I can eat whatever I want and still lose weight because I eat clean." Now, of course, I have a few problems with this. First, what does clean even mean? My clean, your clean, their clean are probably 3 very different definitions of clean. The term itself isn't regulated, meaning there's no one fixed definition, which is exactly what makes it so marketable. It can mean whatever someone wants it to mean. Studies have also actually shown that people interpret the phrase eating clean in wildly different ways. Some people see it as only eating whole foods or unprocessed foods, and others see it as cutting out entire food groups. And while the idea of clean eating started as a push towards more nutrient-dense, less processed foods, it's now being used as a form of disguised restriction or moral superiority over other diets. The obsession with eating clean can easily morph into orthorexic behaviors, where people become overly fixated on the purity of their food. And it's been linked to both nutritional deficiencies and eating disorder risk. You can also absolutely overeat clean foods. Peanut butter, olive oil, avocados, nuts, seeds are all calorie dense. Fat loss ultimately comes down to your energy balance, not what fits someone's arbitrary definition of clean. Focusing on whole, minimally processed foods is a great idea from a micronutrient perspective. But don't let someone confuse you into thinking that eating clean means getting lean. One is a marketing term and the other is a result of physiology. Bad form isn't usually bad. When I first started lifting, I thought if my form wasn't picture perfect, then I was doing something wrong. This fear usually led to me cutting my working set short because I was so scared that I was going to injure myself if my form wasn't absolutely perfect. And while I'm definitely not going to advocate for terrible form, I think some form breakdown is expected and completely normal, especially as you reach closer to failure. So long as you're still moving from A to B, loading the target muscle and not seriously putting yourself at injury risk, a bit of wonky form is completely fine. It's usually during these periods of wonky that you really push yourself and get close enough to failure on your sets to see the most growth. Again, I am not advocating for bad form, but instead of stopping as soon as you hit a wobble, stay in control, keep intent on that muscle, and see how far you can safely go, because that's usually where you'll see real progress. So yeah, not everything that is loud online is worth listening to. Most of the time, seeing progress comes down to doing the boring stuff really well, not chasing what's trendy online. I hope this video helped shed light on the fact that you really just need to lift properly, eat enough, rest, and just stop overcomplicating what's meant to make your life better, not harder. Let me know down below if you have any unpopular pieces of fitness advice that you swear by, and don't forget to like and subscribe while you're down there to join us Pookies. Hopefully I will catch you guys in my next one.